Next, from Springfield,
we talked to Matt Hart, the executive director of the Illinois Trucking Association, about the effort Illinois truckers have made to deliver aid to those affected by hurricanes in Texas and South Florida.
This runs about 15 minutes.
Matt Hart, thanks for joining us again on the Illinois channel. A lot of people have obviously been following the news of late, and we've had several major hurricanes hitting the United States, both in Texas and in Florida, and of course in Puerto Rico. But what a lot of people, I think, haven't heard is the involvement of the Illinois Truckers Association and the amount of charity that is coming from Illinois. It's a commendable story, and we wanted to kind of flesh it out and let people be aware of some of the good works that are being done. What is the role of the Illinois Truckers Association in getting some needed supplies, let's say, down to Texas?
Yeah. Well, we're doing a lot of things to try and help the people who've been affected by the hurricanes in both Texas and in Florida. Almost immediately when we began to see what was happening in Texas and the devastation that the hurricane caused in Texas and the needs that were down there, almost immediately we had members of the Illinois Trucking Association who were responding, trying to find ways to get supplies down there. Of course, one of our concerns in our experience, every time you have a natural disaster, the main thing is to make sure that you've got, there's this automatic outpouring of support initially, but we want to make sure that we had reliable places where we could take things, and also we were serving the need where we were taking the right things down to Texas and down to Florida. So we started working with, we had some members that started working with charitable organizations down in Texas immediately. The Illinois Trucking Association got involved by helping coordinate efforts all across the state, as well as working with our members who have locations in Texas. And we shortly found out one of our members has a trucking terminal near Houston, and so that's where we've been coordinating a lot of our efforts, is to making sure they get so that we have a place to unload a truck, so that we know exactly what they need, and then we're not sending supplies down there that they don't need. And so it's been a little bit of both our members independently taking things down there with their connections down there, the Illinois Trucking Association collecting items all across the state, getting them down there. We've offered up to all of our members across the state that if you want to do collections at your trucking company terminal, we will come with our ITA truck, and we've got a small ITA tractor and trailer. We will come pick those items up. We consolidate them in one of 2 points. We're either consolidating them in the Joliet area at one of our members, or we're consolidating them with one of our members in southern Illinois near the St. Louis area, and finding ways to get them part of other loads and get them down to Texas.
So if people listen to this and they thought, hey, I'd like to donate something, is there some way to make a contribution, or do they have to be in either the St. Louis area or Joliet area?
No, right now we've told all of our members, if you've got a trucking company anywhere in the state and you're collecting items there, the ITA will come pick those items up, and depending on where they're at and what the need is, then we're going to get them either to the St. Louis area or get them to the Joliet area and consolidate them with the other loads then that we've got going down to Texas or to Florida.
And I believe I'm right. You just came from an effort right now where high school kids are also getting involved, right?
Junior high school, yeah. Rochester Junior High School. The students there were challenged with, how could we help the people affected by the hurricanes? And there was a group that decided that it would be great to collect items and get them down there. One of those students was my daughter, who's a student at Rochester Junior High School, and she called me up one afternoon and said, "Daddy, we need a truck. Would you be able to provide a truck?" And I said, "Well, honey, I run the Illinois Trucking Association. Yes, we've got trucks, and we've got members that have trucks, so we will get the items down there." And so that's where I just came from. They collected 4 pallets worth of items: paper towels, cleaning supplies, brooms, diapers, toothbrushes, toothpaste, things to really help with the cleanup efforts right now. That's what's going on right now in Texas, is just trying to help folks get their lives back together, get their homes cleaned, and back to trying to get life back to normal for folks.
As we tape this, it's been, roughly 3 weeks, I suppose, since Houston was hit. Do you know offhand, approximately how many runs have you made down to Texas with truck and the supplies?
Oh, it's hard to gauge. We've had so many members, and one of the things I love about working in the trucking industry, there's just been this outpouring of support, and it's people all across the state running trucking companies, donating trucks, donating trailers, donating drivers, donating fuel. Many of whom, the overwhelming majority of whom, want absolutely no recognition for it. They just want to help. and they don't want any recognition for it. And so that's what's been fantastic in watching the relief efforts is just the outpouring of support. And we've had fuel donations. We've had drivers donated. We've had one member who's donated a tractor, another member donated a trailer, all to get products down and materials down and cleanup supplies down to Texas and to Florida.
And when we say that they're donating, as an example, their drivers, those drivers are getting paid.
Right.
So, I mean, you got the cost of the drivers, you got the cost of the fuel. Yeah. It can be a substantial financial commitment for me. Just approximately what kind of cost would it go to send a truck down to Houston and back?
Yeah. Well, when you're sending them to Houston, you're talking 2 or 3 days, maybe 4 days of getting the truck and trailer down there and back. Fuel alone is about $1,000. A lot of people don't understand how much fuel it takes to run an 18-wheeler. It costs about $1,000 in fuel to get a truckload of material from Illinois to Houston and back. And that's a huge expense that a lot of our members have been taking on. We've also been helping out with efforts to collect more money for fuel. We've had members that have just that don't have trucks or trailers, but wanted to help out and have donated money that we've then been helping to get that money to our trucking company members who are purchasing the fuel to get product down.
Now, you have, as you say, you're working with some of the truckers in Texas. And have you gotten any feedback, I mean, in terms of how appreciative they are, what a difference these donations have made?
Absolutely. And it's when the first 2 or 3 days after the hurricane had gone through Texas, we had a conference call with one of our members, our member that's got the terminal just outside of Houston. And it really breaks your heart when you hear the stories of having no power, having no access to your house, living in a shelter. And I mean, these are middle class folks who normally have a home, and they're just out of their home, and now they're trying to put the pieces back together. And every little bit is helping, and we're constantly hearing from our members, particularly down in Texas, who are thankful for everything that we're sending down there.
How long will this donation, these runs go on, do you imagine? Have you guys talked about this? Let's say going to Houston.
Well, I think we're starting to, hopefully getting to the end. Like I said, right now we're focusing on the cleanup efforts. And so there's just been a huge outpouring of support helping out in the Houston area. I know that's right now the cleanup is the main thing that's going on there, and people are getting their lives back together, and things are starting to get back to normal for a lot of people down there. That's our focus right now, and just in helping them get cleaned up from the debris. There's just it's kind of an overwhelming task when you have that large of a metropolitan area that's been impacted, and you can't get to everybody immediately. So we expect, as long as they continue to have the need, we'll continue to get supplies down there to help them put their lives back together.
And, I mean, this is, again, it's a great story, one that, as I said, I think it's been, to my knowledge, not really reported on. Is this kind of an organic effort? I mean, no one reached out to you and suggested doing this. The state didn't, right? I mean,
Right.
How did this actually come about? Was it just some phone calls being made between trucking companies?
It really was. It was completely organic. As I said, we have experience in the past with, particularly with Hurricane Katrina. We have members that took truckloads of materials and supplies down to Hurricane Katrina, and there was no place to take them. There was no place for the truck to unload, and we had trucks that were stranded down there for days. And so we were very cautious and made sure that we had a reliable person or companies down there that could take product. And also we wanted to know exactly what they needed. We quickly found out, we had a lot of people that wanted to donate clothes or donate shoes, and we were, quickly told we don't need clothes, we don't need shoes. We need, we need cleaning supplies, we need bleach, we need laundry detergent, we need buckets, we need brooms, we need the things that are going to help us clean up and get our lives back together. And so with having members, and of course in the trucking industry, we have a lot of members that transport goods all over the country, and so it wasn't hard to find someone in that area who was impacted and affected, and that's where it all started with us. It is getting these items to our member that was down there. Of course, we knew then that they had a trucking company. We knew they had a dock. We knew they had a place that could collect these things. Or if a couple of items or a couple of truckloads we sent were almost entirely food and water. Those went directly to some other places that needed the food and water. So they were helping us direct through their local efforts down there as well.
And a couple of things, obviously, and unfortunately, we've had 3 hurricanes in a relatively short period of time, in about a month. Also, Florida got hit. Are you also doing any runs to Florida?
Yeah, we are. We're working again with some more of the relief agencies in Florida and getting supplies down there that need to get down there as well. And we even talked earlier about Puerto Rico. Obviously, we can't drive a truck to Puerto Rico. We wish that we could. If we could, we would certainly be taking items down there because Puerto Rico has been devastated. However, it looks like we're going to be able to help out, possibly sending some drivers. So we're looking at sending drivers to Puerto Rico to help out with their efforts because what's going on in Puerto Rico right now is devastating as well, and we're willing and able to help in any way that we can.
Has there been any outreach to the federal government? I mean, again, the charity is commendable. Has anyone said, maybe FEMA or some other department of the federal government could compensate the companies so that they can continue to do some of this, charity, or at least, underwrite some of the costs? Has any of that been done?
Yeah, and we have members who are working through FEMA, and some of them were already approved FEMA contractors, and some of them have already been added as additional FEMA contractors. And those are good, and that helps, with the entire effort. In the trucking industry, we're a service industry. Our job is to serve our customers, and so it's an easy fit for whenever you see people that are in need, and we have trucks that can get materials to people, whether it's through FEMA or whether it's from, hey, we've got a member in outside of Houston, Texas that knows the items that we need, has a place that we can bring them. We'll whether we work through FEMA or whether we work through our own members, we'll help people out.
Yeah, and you kind of, I think, answered. So a question I had was, how do you know what to send? You're getting feedback from the people on the ground down, whether in Florida or Texas, and then you have these collection sites. And I suppose, as we mentioned with your daughter's school, maybe you say, here's the kind of things we're looking for.
Right.
I suppose the school maybe sent a note out to the parents or something, and then it's collected, you have a truck over, and then you kind of bring all that together. When you drive, let's say, to Houston, I'm just curious, is it just a direct shot, or do you coordinate with, let's say, the Arkansas Trucking Association, stop off in Little Rock and pick up some stuff along the way?
Well, we haven't done that because we've been trying to load our trucks up completely here in Illinois. So, the federal government has helped out in that there are regulations about how long you can drive. They have relaxed those regulations if you are involved in the hurricane relief effort. So that helps a little bit as far as the timing of getting material to Texas and getting drivers back to Illinois. So we have been, utilizing those advantages that the federal government is giving us. But right now we're working with anybody and everybody to collect goods. It's we had just one example. We had a member in Rockford that had. They themselves did not have the food, but they had a customer that had a lot of food that they wanted to donate, and they didn't have the capacity to take this truckload of food from Rockford all the way down to Texas, nor did they have know who to get it to in Texas. So they actually brought a truckload, actually multiple truckloads of food from Rockford to Joliet, to one of our other members, where we had an available warehouse where we'd been consolidating loads, and we took that truckload of food. We took it, and then we would take about half of that. We would mix it in with cleaning supplies, and then get that down to Texas. And so we're again working closely with our members in Texas and the Texas Trucking Association as well, our affiliate in Texas, of finding out what do people need, where do they need it, and how can we get it to them.
Lastly, I don't know if there's if somebody wants to donate, how would they, who would they contact, and how would they go about doing it?
Well, they can certainly contact the Illinois Trucking Association. They can go on our website and get our contact information, or call our phone number, or either of our offices, our office in Springfield or our office in Chicagoland, and we'll be able to. We'll be happy to connect them if they want to donate money for fuel. That's really helpful right now. Is we've got a lot of people who have been sending drivers and sending trucks, but after you send 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 truckloads or 20 truckloads, it doesn't hurt to have some help in paying for fuel. So that's we've been taking some donations to help pay for fuel right now. But also, if you do want to get goods, if you've got goods that you want to donate, just find a member of the Illinois Trucking Association, get it to their trucking terminal, and the ITA will come pick those items up, and we'll make sure they get to Texas or Florida.
It's a great story of how Americans come together to help each other.
Yeah. I mean, it really has been great. And as I said earlier, not only do we have trucking company members that want to help, but they do it and they don't want any recognition for it. They just want to help people. And we're a service industry, and we're made up of men and women who serve every day and deliver the goods that people want. And so if we can continue to serve and help people out that are in need, we'll help anybody.
Well, on behalf of all the viewers, thank you, Matt Hart, for joining us, and thank your members for all their charitable works.
Right. Thank you, Terry.